Back in Singapore, a new book looking at how the government works and deals with various issues, including contentious topics like homosexuality and the death penalty. It's written by someone who had a ringside seat in Singapore's political scene, former senior minister S Jayakumar. Titled Governing a Singapore Perspective, it fleshes out his close to 50 years of experience in public service. It also provides insights on leadership renewal and the fight against COVID-19. All royalties from the book, which costs $35, will go towards charity organization Rainbow Centre, which runs schools for people with disabilities. Gwyneth Teo has more from an interview with Professor Jayakumar.
This year's general election was to be Mr. Lee Hsien Loong's last as Prime Minister, according to his succession timeline. Mr. Lee, who turned 68 this year, had also previously said he would step down before he's 70 years old. But at his traditional lunchtime rally this year, the PM committed to seeing out the COVID-19 crisis, regardless of how long it takes.
So I'm posing the question, what if this difficult scenario continues for not just 1-2 years, or more years, closer to the next elections? Would he be prepared to revise that second aspect of the timeline and lead the general election?
While Professor Jayakumar described the pandemic as a tumultuous calamity, the delay on leadership succession may not necessarily be as dire.
It also gives them that extra time to work with the PM and other senior ministers in that kind of scenario, in the same way that I and some of the younger ministers in my time benefited from working with leaders like Lee Kuan Yew, Goh Keng Swee.
As the fourth-generation leadership prepares to fill Mr. Lee's shoes, Professor Jayakumar is confident they'll be guided by what's in the country's best interests. The 81-year-old also believes they have done a creditable job in handling what's been called the crisis of a generation.
I was concerned with a barrage of criticism. I was worried as to whether they would be flustered, and I was very cheered when I saw that they were unfazed. They went about their tasks.
Professor Jayakumar, who served in cabinet for 26 years, says COVID-19 is the biggest challenge that faces Singapore next year. Recovery is made more complex because it hinges on the success of other countries. But he says the cooperation of Singaporeans has helped in the country's fight against the pandemic.